So I'm making some progress on the window casings that these window sashes are going to sit inside of. And I've been trying some new joints here. Told you I'm all in on, trying new stuff that I haven't done before. What I'm trying are called lock rabbet joints. If I'm just, making stuff up here, call me on it and, let me know what these things are actually called. What we have is a rabbet, or rebate as some countries call it. You're not helping, rabbit. Get out of here. So we have a rabbet on one side and a dado on the other side, and they lock together to form a nice 90 degree. Again, more surface area for glue and kind of a mechanical joint that's better than just the standard butt joint. I have my dado blade set up here, and to get this at the very end of my board, I had to have a sacrificial fence that I could move in right up to the edge of this dado blade so it didn't come into my aluminum fence. And I was able to take off 3/8 at a 3/8 depth and then move it back 3/8 and give me that dado in the rail of this piece. So now what I have to do, because I'm going to be building these window frames kind of like I did the other ones, and I'm going to give the bottom sill a 5 degree cant outward so that water hits it and flows outward. I'm going to put a 5 degree cut on the bottoms of these to attach to the bottom sill so that the sill has that 5 degree slope to it. And then I kind of made a mistake. I cut these rabbets already. So what I'm going to do is cut this at a 5 degree angle, recut these rabbets to follow that, and then when I cut the groove into the bottom sill plate, it will, fit evenly the whole way across. Now, the problem with that is I'm making the sill to extend beyond this so that it goes out past the wall and drips down. So what I'm going to have to do is stop. I'm going to have to stop that dado because I don't want the dado. You got to get out of here. Remember the chair? Yeah. I don't want that dado groove to be going out the whole way to the end of the sill outside. So I'm going to have to run the dado groove part way, and then wherever it stops, I'm going to cut off. Well, it'll be easier to show you. Okay, so now for the first cut of my stopped dado, I have the blade height set and the depth set, and I've got a mark where I want to stop my dado. Now, of course, the blade is round, so when I get my depth that I want here, it's still going to trail off. That's going to have to be hidden, which I'll show you later. But the way to stop this and the way to get it to where I want, of course, I can't see it when it's buried in the board when I'm doing the cut. So I've made a line here where I want the deepest part of the cut to stop, and then I've made a line halfway through the cut of this blade. So I'm just going to run this in until this line meets that line, and I'm going to stop pushing and either back it out or lift it off or something. And then I've got to do the same from the other side, but I have to be able to come in from this direction. I can't just flip the board. That brings the dado in from the wrong side. So I'm going to have to switch this over to the other miter saw slot, move the fence over this direction. I got to do everything from that side to catch this board from the front side back. Let's see what happens. Now I've got a dado that runs full depth, at least, from here to this line, and after that it starts to trail out of the board. And with any luck, and if I calculated everything properly, when this sits in there, yes, the end of the board is going to cover the last bit of that cut. That wasn't much too much either. So what I'm going to do, because this is full depth, I can either find some way to, like, you know, pare this off or angle it down or something, but it would never quite fit. So I'm just going to take it to this line and cut off this tenon from here to here. You'll see a clean line the whole way across here, but the dado will be engaged at least this far, giving me a little more strength. And I'll do the same to that side. You thought I was never going to use this machine again, huh? I cleaned it up and it was just going to sit here. No, it's got its uses. So I'm just going to cut off this tab here, cut it in, cut it across. There we go, clean that up a little bit with a sander and show you the result. Alright, so there we go. I've got a window casing with lock rabbit joints and stopped dados on the end. If I can pull this off here, I'll show you these. The tenons only come part way because the dado only comes part way on both sides. When you put it together, it hides. Let me get this one in here. It's a little bit more snug. And you get them together. This board coming down hides the fact that this dado doesn't go the whole way through, and you don't have an ugly, you know, slot coming out the end of the board. So there we go. So now all I've got to do is glue this up, clamp it up, and then build another one. Well, I've got another one of these to build, but you don't really have to see that. You've already seen this one. So it's going to be the same. The dimensions are, I think, 1 inch wider than the other one. So it's just a matter of knocking this out, putting another one together. Now I know how to do these joints and what to look out for with the setups and things. So I'm learning stuff. That's the whole purpose of the channel. You know, not to be selfish, but this is kind of more for me than for you. But you are quite welcome to join along. Now, if you have not seen any of my other videos, I've been working on this barn. I've been putting together this workshop. You are more than welcome to go back through my archives and stuff and rewatch those videos. I've got a playlist on all the barn repair videos. I have replaced most of this wall. I have repaired the foundation in there. I have you know, put up this paneling. But those are all videos that I've got in there. So go back, look at those if you haven't been here before, and we'll dig into other projects as well. All right, I knocked out the second of my window casings, so that one's glued up and in clamps, squared up. And what I'm going to do now, I've got my window sashes. I'm going to put them on the table saw. I'm going to take a 5-degree bevel on the bottom of the sash because the window casings have the 5-degree sill. So I'm cutting these to match. I'm not sure if that's necessary or not, but it kind of makes sense to me. And it'll give me enough, it'll give me a good gap around there. I don't want them fitting like completely tight. I want to have a little bit of play around the sashes and the window casings. for, you know, wood movement and whatever. I don't know what's going to happen. So that looked all right. It just barely kissed the top edge, which is good, what I wanted. It really didn't take any size from the outside of it, and just a little bit on the inside. This is set at 5 degrees to match my casings. And now one more. That kind of marks the end of the woodworking part of these frames and casings. I'll have to buy some glass for those sashes. Get the glass put in, get them puttied in, get the frames painted. And so then it's on to working with these walls where the windows are going to go in. Some of the holes are kind of roughly cut on the outside, so I'm going to trim those up to fit these casings nicely. I have to put in some framing around the windows to hold the casings because there was really nothing there. So I'm going to build some kind of framing around there to screw these into. I think it's supposed to be pretty nice tomorrow, so hopefully we can tackle that tomorrow. Get the casings installed in the wall, ready to accept the windows, even if the windows aren't ready. With the paint and the window glazing, that's going to take a little time to cure, and it's not going to cure in cold weather. So I think I'm going to take these indoors somewhere, get them painted up, get them glazed. I do have a 2x4 for future reference if anybody wonders why I'm doing this. I've got a 2x4 that I'm going to put right here. Now it's kind of a weird thing to do, I know, but I have reasons. This old 2x4 that's in here is actually 2 inches wide. Plus the 1.5 inches of a modern 2x4 gives you 3.5 inches, which is the width of a modern 2x4 turned up this way, which is what I did over there and which is what everybody else in the world ever does. This being 3.5 inches is what this window frame was designed around. So it will come to the edge inside here. When I put my 2x4s up around to frame this window, those are also 3.5 inches out, so everything will match up. Yeah, you can have these weird pockets behind here, but this diagonal piece also is a full 2 inches wide, so that makes this 3.5 inches here, all the way to the edge. Yeah, you got these weird pockets here. But if I ever decide to panel this, it's a lot closer to being, you know, kind of studded out to put something on there. And that mitigates these weird, you know, off-size things that are placed face on. It works. So let's just do that. But first, before I put this up, I'm going to put up some tar paper like I did on the other side. Block some more wind. And there's a lot coming in that hole right now. I just wanted to give you a quick update out in the shop. It is cold today, and you can see I've got my winter weather clothes on, but I'm doing some work on these windows. I wanted to try something new. Not new, it's cheap. I was going to make the little stays for the window sash, whatever you call them, the stops. I was going to put them in the window casings that I'm making out there, and have something to hold the window sashes in. So I've got these stops that I'm putting in. And I went to the store and I looked at the strips of those that you can buy at the store, and they're 1/2 by 3/4 or 3/8 by 3/4, some tiny little strips. You buy them in lengths of 7 or 8 feet, and they're like $9. And I would need about 6 or 8 strips of those, so we're talking $60, $70 for nothing. I mean, you can buy a 2x4 for $4. Why is a trim strip $10? So I thought, forget that. I'll make my own. I've got some leftover wood from making those. I can cut some thin strips off of there, and I can make my own strips, and it's basically free out of the lumber that I otherwise would have tossed to the side. So in order to do that, I set up my table saw, and let me show you this trick. It's not really a trick, it's just kind of old school. You see all over YouTube and the internet, people are selling these, thin strip jigs or thin rip jigs. I've got a feather board that does the same thing. You set up your fence, set up your feather board, so that when you feed your wood in, you get your 3/8" strip or whatever you've got, and once you're done cutting that, you just set the fence until the remaining board, again fits up against your feather board, and that's your thin rip jig, right? You run it through again, you've got your same size strip. So that's what I've been doing, and I got some, pretty consistent thin strips here. So I'm going to keep going. I need some more. I've got enough for one window here. So I'm going to keep going with this board. I'm going to cut, as many strips as I can get off of this. And that's how I'm going to get my thin strips, and I don't have to pay, $10 at the store for it. I just wanted to vent a little bit. Oh, and an update about the shop. As I mentioned, it's cold out here today, but as far as the tar paper on the walls, I haven't even done that half of the garage behind the car, but I've done some in the smaller part over there that I've been working on. I've got some tar paper in there, and I've got the tar paper behind these walls, and I think it's working. It's a little breezy out today, but the breeze is not in here. I mean, look at all the light behind me and above me and around me. That's all air coming in. But other than that, the air in here is still. I've been able to work. Yeah, my hands are little blocks of ice, but touching all this metal tools and stuff, that doesn't help. But I think it wouldn't take much of a heater in here to make this usable. It's about, my weather app's telling me it's like 39 degrees outside right now. I'm looking out the windows at the trees blowing around, so there's some wind out, but it's usable in here. If I just, like I said, a small propane kerosene heater or something would make this usable, if not just to be able to, stop and hold my hands above it and warm them up a little bit. But I'm pretty pleased with this. Now, if it gets down to the 20s and it's whipping snow, that's going to be a different story. But a little more tar paper in here, and I think this would be pretty doable. So that was just an update. I'm going to keep going on these thin strips and hopefully be able to put these windows in. I got glass in the sashes, and I've got them glazed up. I'm just waiting for the glazing putty to harden up a bit so that I can put on another coat of paint. I'm doing that at an off-site location where it's not quite so cold. And then I'll be able to mount those sashes in here with my strips. Now I've got the fancy molding on the fancy trim, just like you get from the fancy store, only I got it for free. Okay, we got a little break in the weather. It's like 55 degrees today, sunny, slight breeze, perfect day for working out here. I got a couple of layers on, but that's all you need. My hands are not cold, it's great. I'm finally putting these window casings in. Well, you saw this, I cut this and flapped it back. I put some tin under here to protect this wood, just like I did with the other ones, so I figured why not. So now I'm going to put the casing in. If any water does get through, it's going to hit this, and this barn board will last a little bit longer. Just a little extra added protection. I've already fit these things in here, and they look pretty good. They fit in very snug, which is, I guess, what you want. My tin made it a little more snug. There we go. The outside's is going to be flush with the barn boards. That's what I call it. I don't know what they are. Siding, I guess. This is going to be flush to the inside. I've already put my strips in here, my stops, so that the sash has something to go against. I've cut the other ones so they're ready to go in. Once I put the sash up there, I can tack in the other strip on the outside. They will be held. And then I just screw through here into the 2x4s that I've installed right into the casing underneath the sashes so you won't see it. And then the same for that one back there. I'm not going to drill any through the sill. I want that to stay as waterproof as I can. It will get some paint. It's a little, I could paint it today, but, I've got other stuff around that needs painted. So I think springtime I'm going to come around, hit everything with paint. That'll give this treated lumber some time to, gas out some of the chemical in here, and maybe the paint will stick better. At least that's what I'm going with. All right, time to put this window in and start putting the trim on the outside while on a ladder. saw. Maybe just leave it. There we go. I'm going to try to get a pin punch to push those in. Sorry about the noise. The fire trucks are idling up here today. Not sure what they're doing, but they responded to something up that driveway up the hill, so. I won't get mad at them. They're doing their job. Alright, let's see what we did. There's this window on the inside, pretty as a picture frame. And there's that window all installed. The light is back in here. Well, when I had these things closed up, it was quite dark in this corner, but now the light is back in. I can move all the storage stuff back in place. Looks like a whole different place from before when I started. All right, let's look at them from the outside. Hey, there it is. Nice little tin strip on the bottom. And matches the one up above it that I did before. So there you go. 2 custom windows. And here's the one on the other side. There we go. That wall will look a lot better once I get it all painted and, you know, put the trim up that tin a little bit, paint the bottom boards and paint the rest of that wall, and, you know, maybe repair what's in the corner there. But for now, this should take it through the winter quite nicely and beyond, until I get a chance to do a little more on this place. Oh, the goat wants to say hi. Hi, bud. How are you? Yeah. Hi. He really wants the camera. All right. Bye, goat. Well, I know you got to be tired of windows, because I know I am. So with these done, I think what I will do is turn my attention to something else. Maybe some projects in the workshop, something for me. Or I might just grab the rest of what I've got of the tar paper and try to cover up some more of the gaps in here. That's kind of a free time activity. It's not worth being filmed, probably. So I'll just do that for my own benefit, and so the wind doesn't whistle through the barn and make it that much colder. Hey, if you enjoyed this series of, you know, barn repairs, the floor, the wall, the windows, you know, hit that subscribe button. Maybe click like a couple, well, don't do it a couple times because that'll just reverse it. You know, click like and follow more of this stuff. And I'm sure I got more coming. Thank you for watching. I appreciate all the views and all the comments. And I'll do something else.